think a lot of people follow their grandmothers around in the garden. I can still remember where every single plant in her yard was. She grew lots of flowers and fruits and things like that, so it was like a little paradise for me, and that's probably where I got hooked on gardening, or where, you know, it meant something at first for me. My name's Rhonda Fleming Hayes, and I'm a garden writer. I write for the Star Tribune and Northern Gardener magazine, and sometimes Minneapolis-St. Paul magazine and other publications around this area. I've always been interested in plants. I feel like they've always been a part of my life. I mean, even when I was in college, I was growing lettuce and strawberries in my little rental house backyard, so I've always gardened no matter what. It's a constant in my life, and it's given me joy and it's given me solace. I've been a writer since I was 11, and I've always gardened, but I never thought to put the two things together until later in life. It was not until the day after my son went to college and I had an empty nest that I started blogging. That blog, plus blogging for the Star Tribune, they had a community blog at that time, and so I was just doing it for fun. But the editor saw me writing about gardening and pollinators, and so that got me the gig writing for the Star Tribune during the summers. It also helped get a publisher for my book. You know, I'd gotten turned down a couple times, and then all of a sudden this publisher comes to me. I saw your blog. Would you like to write about pollinators? And I was like, yeah. I went to find information on pollinators. It was either dense entomological textbooks, or it was like a little pamphlet about apple pollination. And so I realized the only information I could find about bees was how to kill them. And so I started recording my observations and going and looking at other gardens and observing bees and butterflies and other insects. There's a quote from children's author Beverly Cleary that says, if you can't find the book you want, you have to write it. So I wrote the book. I think a lot of garden writers, myself included, we have to pay our dues by writing about the how-to, but after a while, for me, the how-to gets old, and I'm interested more in the why. So more and more I'm trying to write about people's relationships with plants, kind of like my own feelings for plants. Right now, the garden, like I said, there's some parts that are really in high production, but there's also parts that are fading. I find interest in how plants interact. I think, you know, a lot of people gardening is control over plants, whereas I'm more loose. I kind of like to see what they do. I like to see how they interact with each other. I think it's kind of fun when I see a tendril from a bean plant resting on a tomato or wrapping around a melon or something like that. I even think there's interest out there in death and decay of plants. You know, how they're fading. Sometimes there's beauty in that. It's like right now, what's left of the dill, it's just some seeds and on some husks, but that's still interesting.